Hello and welcome to another update video about Ethereum here today. Really interesting development. We have seen CPI today. Obviously, I made the live stream. I think some of you were part of the live stream. We observed that not too much actually happened. But then we saw this green candle after or around the stock market opening of the US. Shows you some go potential further to the upside. And I'm considering, obviously I already considered yesterday that Ethereum had its low in. And to be honest, when I told you that Ethereum, obviously with that latest low as well, where we could count the micro, could have made the low now, that was really the lowest point it made, which is quite cool because normally you can't really catch the low. But here we did. But obviously you never know if it really is the low, but it was, I think, either here or here. I told you for the first time the low could have been made, I think, here already. But we only had 3 waves down, so it was a bit problematic. But then we even got on the micro level, the 5th wave, which we sometimes don't get, because sometimes you have, I mean, as per the purely academic Elliott Wave rules, guidelines, you should always get a 5th. Sometimes you just don't get it. It is what it is, you know, and you can always make it work with some sort of twist of the count, but it's not really about that. It's about identifying those low risk, high reward setups. And then it doesn't really matter if you buy here at whatever, 1476 or 1467. Yeah, so it doesn't really make a great difference, but it's great. And then we talked about this descending wedge, broke out of it. And then since then, you know, it hovered above the support, retested, and then really jumped today. And I think this is a it's a candle that could confirm we are in the 3rd wave. I'm always careful on days like these where we have, you know, such important announcements like CPI, which trigger a lot of emotions and so on, because what could have happened was just, you know, people jumped onto the FOMO train here, leveraged up, right, and a lot of people got caught out by a bit of a rejection here. And I know how it works, and that shows the downside of breakout trading, that when too many people jump on the FOMO train, you get this rejection. We got the rejection here sort of in the region of the previous wave 4 high. At the moment, I can tell you that we can carefully assume a low is in, especially as it already left my target area, again, my support area, and it's on a good way. However, it hasn't done enough to really confirm it. I mean, I'm really hard pressed to count this as a 5-wave move up here. Yeah, the 5 waves since yesterday. This wouldn't be part of it. This would already be part of the 3rd. So I can make it work as a 5-wave move here, as I said in the previous video, but it would have to be a diagonal. So I'm currently considering, okay, you know, maybe this was a diagonal to the upside, you know, some kind of a diagonal structure. Then here the wave 2 low, and this would now need to be the 3rd. But in the 3rd, this cannot be the completion really yet of the 3rd. We should reach in this 3rd wave the 1.618 extension, ideally, yeah, to consider the whole move an impulse. If we don't even do that and still go up, it is then not a high probability count, but you know, it should reach 1590 really, ideally, the 1.618 extension. So at the moment the trend is up. I'm curious to see if this maintains. Ideally, this move down currently will hold above the wave 1 high, which is 1525. A drop below 1525 will make it a bit tricky, because then you're cutting into the wave 1 price region. I cannot really count this as a wave 3 anymore. It will then be difficult. But the point is, you know, if you entered anywhere in my support area, or even in the more specific target area here, you don't really care. Yeah, you don't really care. You just, you know, you just manage risk now, which could mean for you, and it's individual for everybody, you know, it could mean that you move up your stop loss now into break even. It could mean that you move up your stop loss to profit. It could mean that you take partial profits if you just wanted to scalp. It could mean that you don't do anything because you had a plan and the plan is working out. Or you know what, you know, you just move your stop loss below this week's low, which is what I did now. I could move it higher, yeah, but it's just what I do. Because I had a plan and I traded, you know, and don't be emotional, you know, it's sort of all developing. It's sort of all developing as it should have done so far. But what I cannot rule out is that this is still some kind of a 4th wave here, because we haven't left resistance yet. We need to eventually break out of 1598 to give us a good view that this move is over here. Yeah. So either way, let's assume maybe the low was in. Okay, let's assume the low was in here. What could happen? We could now rally to the 1800 plus region in the fifth wave. That would be great. In that case, everybody's happy. What else could happen? It could also happen that we have a slightly different count, which would be the alternative. This is the count we talked about in previous videos, that the wave 3 was actually here. The wave 4 was actually here. The wave 5 was already here. And we completed this entire impulse that started basically in November. And that we're now in the wave 2. Now, what does that mean? It might mean that we're doing something like this. That this move down here into our target area was just an A wave. This move up is going to be a B wave. And we're going to come down in a C wave. Now, this is going to be interesting, okay? Because it means that we are going to make a new low in this scenario. Now, again, I'm not giving you these support areas because they are made up or anything. No, they are usually high probability turnaround areas. So even if you entered in this area and we're going to do a B wave, you should be okay. Why? Because it should still move up a bit higher before we break down. And in that scenario, you would have enough time to move up your stop loss, which I will do as well if we go a bit higher. Then I will move my stop loss into profit, maybe even take some partial profits, I'll see, and then be prepared for anything. And I always try to encourage people to make your plan. Don't be emotional, especially on days like these. There is always more than one possibility. The market can theoretically do anything. But if you know the 2 or 3 most likely scenarios and high probability pivot points, decision points, turning points, then you can come up with a plan that should be good, right? That should be good for everybody. For you, especially for you. Yeah, and that's sort of where we are at the moment. Nothing else to add here for ETH at the moment. I think we just need to see now if this is going to become an impulse. And it should be if we get to that sort of 1590 area. Until then, there's still downside risk. We could still also from here, because there is no guarantee that the low has been made already. For that purpose, I said, if it's part of your plan, if it feels good for you, move up your stop loss into profit, break even to take that risk out. If you move it too high, be aware it could just come down and rally. Yeah. So that's the uncertainty we all have to deal with in these markets. But all I'm saying is don't be surprised if it will make a new low. If it does that, I will attempt to re-enter if I get stopped out. But that's okay. Okay, that's my update about Ethereum. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.